Good morning. So another railway adventure is upon us, and this time we are exploring the capital of London stations. So I'm currently at London Euston, where I will start my journey, and then after here it will be 4 more stations, which will be Vauxhall, Blackfriars, Liverpool Street and Farringdon. Nonetheless, we're going to come along for the journey and we are going to absolutely enjoy it. So welcome once again to Down the Line. Right then, so London Euston opened in 1837. It now consists of 16 platforms and is under the management of Network Rail. As I've mentioned before, there is around 20 that are under their management. Service-wise, however, you've got London North Western, Avanti, Underground, Overground, and also you can catch the Caledonian Sleeper from here. So service-wise, well, obviously Milton Keynes, Watford, Birmingham, Manchester, up to Glasgow, and on the Caledonian Sleeper you can obviously go up towards Inverness and places like that. You can also catch your local services on the Overground, as well as changing onto the Northern and Victoria lines here for the Underground. So there's quite a vast selection of destinations from here. And you know, like I said, I've been here many times. And to be fair, Euston doesn't really change that much, but it's the first time I'm going to do a video for it, so we're going to go and have a look as much as we can, within reason, of course.
It certainly seems like quite a contrast between the north and the south, from beautiful countryside to the metropolis of the city and capital. But as I said at my York episode, I do definitely have a better feeling for the northern side of the railways, and the beauty, it can't be matched either.
So a bit more about London Euston. So it is the southern terminus for the West Coast Main Line, and it is in fact the 11th busiest station in Britain. Now, it didn't always used to look like this. People will remember something called the Euston Arch, which is long gone. However, it was expanded in 1849, and it was had a little remodelling between 1962 and 1968. However, they're still doing works on this station in terms of underground links and the outside. So it never really stops at Euston, that's a dead cert. However, if we're going to talk about architecture here, unfortunately it starts on a bit of a bad note, because it is described as tasteless, dingy and grey. And to be honest, for my own personal opinion, when you look at London Terminus stations, you expect, you know, grand designs, grand buildings, and this probably falls down towards the bottom of that list. Obviously, compared to places like Liverpool Street, Waterloo, Paddington, King's Cross and Pancras, it doesn't compare. So I know this is based on 1960s architecture and things like that, but it doesn't really work, and I don't know who approved the idea, but nonetheless, it's a terminus station nonetheless, and it's massive.
It is definitely a shame that this station falls behind in the architecture category, and Euston was once quite grand compared to what you see it now. But if that doesn't bother you too much, then this station can take you to many places.
With London Euston, it did have a couple of firsts. It was the first intercity railway station in London, and it was the first railway hotels were built in Euston. So it obviously has an important history here. Nonetheless, in 1959, it was announced that it was going to be fully electrified to accommodate obviously the electrification on the West Coast Main Line. Now, there was a lot built towards the northern side, so a lot of the expansion went to the southern side, and you can probably still see some of that history today. On the approach, however, you do have a lot of work going on in relation to HS2. Now, I believe that there's going to be a further 7 or 8 platforms that are going to be built from that, and when it's all finished, there is planned to be around 10 platforms dedicated to HS2 services, and there's also a diversion to Old Oak Common. So there may be history, there is a lot going on in the future at London Euston, that is for sure.
You can just imagine what it will be like with the mix of London North Western, Avanti, and with HS2 involved. And with 10 dedicated platforms, like I said, it is certainly going to be one of the busiest stations in the country. that is in no doubt.
So, another part about Euston which is very well known by any passenger here. If you are boarding a service in the evening between 8, 9, 10 and 11 on the platforms, well, then there is commonly known as the Euston stampede. So, if you know your sources, try and get to the platform as quick as you can, but if you get caught in that, like I have, it is an absolute pain to board your train. But nonetheless, if you're there any other time, you can just get away with it, but that stampede, oh, it is stressful.
The stampede is something that you definitely don't want to be caught in, especially after a very busy day at work or a day out in London, and you can find yourself standing just as far as Milton Keynes Central and Northampton.
Right then, so that's my time at London Euston all finished, and to be fair, I'll be back here next week as well, and so on and so forth. So this is a very regular station for me. However, video wise, we've done it. But I hope you've enjoyed this. London Euston is quite interesting actually when you look into the history of it, and also the future plans, like I said. But at first eye, if you're not into touch with it, you know, like I said before, it's not the best of terminus stations in terms of looks. However, next I'm going to venture down onto the Victoria line down to Vauxhall, so I will see you there as we go down the line.